Hello, everyone. I'm here today with the dubious honor of trying to predict who the worst team in the NBA is going to be this year. Um, as I kind of look through the teams, I kind of feel like in the East and the West, there are kind of two prime contenders on both sides to kind of lead the league in losses, if you will. And then similarly, there's maybe a dark horse, terrible team in each conference as well. So if we start out West, really, if you look across the whole NBA last year, there were four teams that had fewer than 25 wins. And I think to be the worst team in the league, I think you're definitely shooting for under 25, probably under 20 wins most seasons. So last year we had the Suns finish at 23 and 59. The Nets finished at 21 and 61. The Lakers were 17 and 65. And the 76ers were right on the verge of history, almost setting the record for the worst season ever with only 10 wins and 72 losses. So I think those four teams, probably are where you would want to start when looking at who's going to be the worst this year. That's two in the East and two in the West. I would say in the East, the dark horse, potentially really bad team, and I hesitate to say this, but possibly the Miami Heat. When you look at Dwayne Wade and possibly Chris Bosh both being gone, and the fact that they're kind of building around Hassan Whiteside and they're young players, I could see them as a team that could fall off in a hurry. Whether they could fall down into the 20 win range or not, I'm not sure. I mean, they still have the structure and honestly, a lot of the talent that finished the season so well last year, because Bosh wasn't playing at that point and Wade was in and out of the lineup. But I would at least say they earn interest as a team to watch, though I don't expect them to be down that far. In the West, I would say the team most likely to fall into that range, and I don't even know if it's likely because they have one of the most talented players in the NBA, but it's the Sacramento Kings. They're so volatile. I don't know what they're doing, and apparently, based on his interview the other day, DeMarcus Cousins doesn't really know what the team is doing either. So last year they won 33 games. They went 33 and 49. I would say that's probably a good over/under number for them for this year. But things go bad. They could go bad real fast in a hurry. Especially if something happens to if for some reason Cousins is either no longer on the court, no longer on the team, no longer bought in, things could go bad really quick in Sacramento. So I would say they're my Western dark horse team to crack into that Final Four. And of that bottom four, I think I kind of feel like the Suns are the ones most likely to move up a little bit. They're also built for the rebuild, but they were just in the playoff hunt not that long ago, and they've still got Eric Bledsoe. They've still got some young talent. I really liked what I've seen out of Devin Booker. I like what I've seen out of Alex Len as a potential big man. Tyson Chandler still on the roster. Obviously they had several high draft picks this year, and maybe I think maybe they can slot their young talent in around some veterans that can kind of produce. So of the four, I think they're the ones least likely to end up on the bottom, which leaves us with the Lakers, the 76ers, and the Nets leading the pack is most likely the worst in the NBA. The Lakers and 76ers have young, exciting, vibrant talent. The 76ers have been picking at the top of the draft for several years. Obviously, they got the number one pick this year in Ben Simmons, who is really, creating a lot of buzz. I don't know if he's going to come in and immediately be a huge impact player, but I do think he's going to be an exciting player. And it seems like the 76ers are planning for this to be the year that they stop trying to race to the bottom. They brought in a new regime. They are expecting, they signed Sakic. He's coming over this year. They're expecting Joel Embiid to be able to play this year. They've still got their two young centers from last year in Nerlens Noel and Okafor, who showed enough promise to potentially be people that they could, either get value in a trade. That's what they've been working for, or else, be able to contribute. So it's funny to say for a team that's been bad for so long and it's been, they almost set the work record for the worst team ever last year. But I kind of feel like the compass is starting to point upwards in Philadelphia. I think they're still going to be bad. They're going to be really bad, but I don't think they're going to. Their whole culture before was based on we're going to lose and we're okay with that. I think this year they're actually going to try to get something out of these young players. So I'll say I don't expect them to be at the bottom either, which brings us to the finals for the worst team in the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. The Lakers are at the, they're starting an entire new era. Kobe is gone now. Last year, for kind of Kobe's retirement tour, I think the team focused more on him than on developing their young talent, which wasn't to their advantage because they had some solid young talent last year, and now they've only added to that. So, I think they're going to want to see what they've got with D'Angelo Russell, with Ingram. They're the number two picks in each of the last two drafts. Julius Randle at power forward, still Jordan Clarkson possibly. They've got some talented pieces there, and kind of like the 76ers, I think they're a young team. I think they're expecting to lose a lot this year, but I don't know. I still have the feeling that there's going to be excitement and that there's talent. They're going to be kind of trying to excel, which leads me to the Brooklyn Nets. I don't have any positive feeling about the Nets this year. They traded away their draft picks for this year. They gave up the number 3 pick to the Celtics as part of a trade from a couple years ago, and they're going to have to give up their pick to the Celtics. I believe it's either next year or the year after. I've heard both years. I'm not sure, but either way, there's not any young talent there. They still got Brook Lopez, who's a good scoring center, but he's not a high impact player, to be built around as the best player on the team. They don't have talent in the backcourt. I mean, I think Linsanity is kind of expected to be their big import so far anyway in the backcourt. I don't see a lot there to get excited about. The one thing, if they really might lose their draft pick next year, they don't have any impetus to tank. So there's that. But I think they're my leaders in the clubhouse right now. So if I had to bet on the worst team in the NBA going into the 2016-17 season, I'm going with the Brooklyn Nets. I guess check in the comments below and let me know who your pick is.